This woman's name is Mary. Her eldest son, Caleb, was a special forces soldier, but just a few days ago, he was killed in action. Ever since that day, Mary has spent every moment drowning in grief, her tears never seeming to dry. One afternoon, a man suddenly knocked on her door. He introduced himself as David, Caleb's comrade from the army. He said he had been discharged early due to an injury and came by today to pay his respects to Caleb's family. Mrs. Peterson welcomed him inside warmly and invited him to stay for dinner, eager to hear stories about her son's life in the military. When their eyes fell upon Caleb's framed photo above the fireplace, silence filled the room. Moments later, Mary's daughter Anna came out of her room. After exchanging a few polite words with David, she left for her part-time job at a fast food restaurant. Meanwhile, Mary's younger son Luke was dealing with bullying at school. Luke was a quiet and timid boy who never told his parents a word about what he suffered. That night, when Luke got home, David immediately noticed the bruise on his face. Though Luke claimed it was from a ball hitting him during gym class, David knew better. Something else had clearly happened. On the other side of the house, Mary's husband, Mr. Peterson, was furious after finding a strange man under his roof. He scolded Mary for letting David stay overnight without discussing it with him first. But since it was already late, they exchanged a few words and went their separate ways. Around midnight, Mr. Peterson went to talk to David, venting about his frustrations at work. He spoke about a young man named Alan, who, in just 4 years, had taken the managerial position he'd spent his whole life striving for. There was bitterness and helplessness in his tone. The two men talked for hours, until dawn. The next day, David offered to pick Luke up from school, but when Luke got in the car, David didn't drive off. He was waiting for the bullies from the previous day. After Luke pointed them out, David followed the group to a bar. To humiliate them, he ordered each of them a cocktail. Without warning, the boy threw his drink right in David's face. Big mistake. Within seconds, David, being a trained soldier, beat them all down effortlessly. In just a few minutes, revenge was served, and he calmly walked out with Luke. When they got home, they ran into Anna, who was getting ready for a party. Mary, worried about her daughter's safety, asked David to accompany her. At the party, David met Anna's boyfriend and her best friend. The friend told him that Anna's ex-boyfriend kept harassing her and wouldn't let go. Feeling protective, David stepped in and knocked the guy out cold. To thank him for his chivalry, Anna's best friend decided to repay him in her own way. She led David into a bedroom, and well, you can guess what happened next. Later that night, David met one of Anna's drug-addicted friends and asked him to get him a handgun. After exchanging contact info, David left without another word. Just then, David happened to see Anna arguing with her boyfriend. Without saying much, he quietly offered her a ride home. During the drive, they talked for a while, and Anna promised to record a mixtape to thank him for his kindness. The next morning, as Anna went to give David the tape, she accidentally overheard him talking on the phone. She caught a few words, something about plastic surgery and fingerprints. His tone was tense, almost urgent, as if he was pressuring someone on the other end to create a fake identity for him. Anna froze for a moment. Could it be David's identity as fake? She quickly contacted the military logistics department where David had once served to verify his background. After hanging up, the staff immediately searched for his records, only to discover that David was linked to a secret military experiment called KPG. The information was soon relayed to the man in charge of Project KPG, a black officer who sternly warned his subordinates. No one can find out KPG is still active. If this leaks, we're both dead. To contain the situation, he decided to personally visit Mary's home to investigate and ordered a special ops team to accompany him. Meanwhile, David arrived at an abandoned mining site to meet Anna's junkie friend and pick up the gun he'd ordered. The dealer enthusiastically showed off his collection, and after testing a few, David nodded with satisfaction. "I'll take them all," he said. Thinking he'd hit the jackpot, the dealer grinned ear to ear, but David had no intention of paying.
I'll cut you a deal. You can take them all off my hands.
No, I'm going to kill you.
Anna's junkie friend panicked at the sight and bolted, but before he could get far, David made sure he got that ticket, too. At the same time, Anna received a call from the military department. They told her that David had died in a fire just a week ago. Shocked and confused, she confided in her best friend at the diner. Her friend suggested, check his call history, you might find something. That evening, David was carving pumpkins with Luke on the porch. He told the boy, "You can't be weak forever. Sometimes, you've got to fight back." Then he pulled out a Swiss Army knife from his bag and gave it to Luke. Soon after, Anna returned home. When David wasn't looking, she snuck his phone from his jacket pocket and snapped a photo of his recent call logs. Just then, the phone started ringing. Startled, Anna quickly placed it back on the bed. David seemed to sense something was off, but he said nothing. He simply picked up his phone and walked away. Later that night, Mr. Peterson came home with shocking news. Alan, his recently promoted superior, had been found dead in his house. Though he pretended to mourn, the incident conveniently paved the way for him to take the managerial position he'd long desired. Ironically, just days earlier, he'd been complaining to David about his stalled career and lack of opportunity. At the same time, Anna received a phone call. It was her boyfriend. He told her that the police had found her junkie friend shot dead at an abandoned mining site, and the murder weapon was discovered inside his car. Anna was stunned. Who could be so cruel, and why frame her boyfriend for it? After wrestling with her thoughts, she decided to tell her parents everything. But to her shock, Mr. Peterson coldly replied, "All your friends are troublemakers. Maybe it's good to cut ties with them now." Anna couldn't believe what she was hearing.
What about him? Everybody's best friend. Called the military base that he said he was from, and they told me he was dead.
She expected everyone to be stunned, but David stayed perfectly calm. He simply pulled out his military name tag to prove his identity. Seeing no one believed her, Anna held back her anger and stormed off. In her room, she stared again at the photo of David's call history, perhaps the only lead left to uncover the truth. The next morning, while taking Luke to school, Anna told him everything she'd found. It turned out that all the recent numbers in David's call log belonged to a plastic surgeon, one who lost his medical license 2 years ago for breaking the law. Why would David be in touch with him? Something wasn't right. Anna asked Luke to look up the surgeon online, hoping to uncover a link between him and David. Everything that had happened felt too coincidental, and she began to suspect David might be the real killer. When Luke got to school, he immediately started searching on his laptop, but before he could dig further, the class bully showed up and mocked him. "What's the matter, Luke? Looking for a plastic surgeon for your gender change?" This time, Luke didn't hold back. He remembered David's words. "You can't stay weak forever. When it's time to fight back, fight back." Moments later, the homeroom teacher called Mary to the school. David went along too. After hearing what happened, David smiled proudly. "Good job, kid." But the school board didn't share his view. They accused Luke of violence and decided to expel him immediately. That set David off. "If you do that," he said sharply, "I'll bring in a lawyer and take this to court. I'll also make sure every news outlet covers how your school expelled a bullying victim for defending himself." The administrators hesitated, then backed down. "Fine," one of them said nervously. "He won't be expelled, but he'll have to help organize the school's Halloween event instead." David and Mary exchanged glances and agreed. As David was about to leave, Luke called out to him. After everything they'd been through, Luke realized David wasn't the villain people thought. "Look," Luke said softly, "I know your identity's fake, but I don't care. Everyone has their secrets."
You killed Dad's boss too, right?
David froze for a few seconds, but before he could speak, Luke quickly assured him, "I won't tell anyone, I promise." David looked at him for a moment, then gave a mysterious, knowing smile. Cut to, the black officer arrives at Mary's house, leading a team of mercenaries. They question her about David's whereabouts, just as David steps outside and spots them. Without hesitation, both sides draw their guns, and chaos erupts. Bullets fly everywhere. The house is shredded like a honeycomb. After the gunfire stops, the mercenaries move in carefully. But from beneath the bed, David ambushes them, giving each of them a one-way ticket to the grave. Crawling across the floor, David reaches the living room, where Mary is trembling in terror. To stay hidden, he grabs a kitchen knife and kills her, then steals the family car and speeds off. But not far down the road, he crashes head-on into Mr. Peterson's car. The officer gives chase, but David vanishes once again. Determined to protect the remaining family, the officer rushes to the diner where Anna works, picks her up, and explains the situation. Then they race to Luke's school. Moments after Anna leaves, David arrives at the diner. Anna's best friend tells him a policeman just took Anna away. Without a word, David opens fire, then throws 2 grenades, reducing the place to rubble. Cut to the road, the officer tells Anna the truth. The KPG project was a secret genetic experiment on humans, and David was one of its subjects. Due to poor supervision, several test subjects escaped. David, a genetically enhanced soldier with an unstable nervous system, was still incomplete. Whenever he feels his cover is blown, he kills anyone who knows his secret. Now, they must rescue Luke before it's too late. At the school, Anna spots Luke decorating the gym for the Halloween party. But before she can speak, the lights go out, and a song begins to play, the same tape Anna had once recorded for David. He's here. Following a teacher's lead, the officer and others head toward the back exit. But as they pass through a hall of mirrors, the teacher is shot dead instantly. Anna, take Luke and run, the officer shouts. He turns to face the threat. Anna drags Luke toward the exit, but the main door is chained shut. Luke still refuses to believe David would hurt them until Anna blurts out, "He killed Mom and Dad." Only then does the horror sink in. Anna urges Luke to hide while she distracts David. Moments later, David tracks her footprints, only to find her boots lying on the floor. Behind him, Anna appears, gun in hand.
You killed my parents.
Yes.
Anna approaches cautiously, but suddenly realizes David's body is gone. He bursts out from the shadows, stabs her in the thigh, and pins her to the ground. At the last second, Luke charges in, stabbing David in the neck with a knife.
You did the right thing. I don't blame you.
Luke helps Anna to her feet, and they escape together. In the final scene, Anna and Luke are rescued by firefighters. As they sit beside the fire truck, Anna catches sight of a limping firefighter walking away. Her eyes widen, it's David. What the hell? Here's the complete summary of The Guest 2014. What do you think of the show? Do you think David is still alive, or was it all just Anna's hallucination? Comment number 1 if you think David survived. Comment number 2 if you believe he's dead. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.